Hi, my name is Vicki Spray. I'm the founder of EvolveTalk.com. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. My hope and my goal is to attract a discerning social and spiritual audience to EvolveTalk.com so that you can be connected to our local teachers and our guides and our healers, the people who have stepped forward to help us all expand. So welcome, and today I have Licia Berry. Welcome, Licia Berry.
Thank you.
I'm very glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You are a person who has stepped up and said, you know, let me be of service to humanity.
Love me or leave me. Like it or not. Yeah.
You're going to do this thing.
Yes.
And you've been on a journey for quite some time.
I have.
Can you tell us just a little bit, or whatever you want to share, about how your journey, if you would say journey started? How would your journey started? Your spiritual journey, your healing journey?
It was really early, Vicki.
Yeah.
It was very early. I have memory to age 2. And I remember thinking at certain points in my childhood, you know, who am I? And what am I doing here? And I remember very distinctly at age 4 looking up at the sky and asking if I could please come home. Yep.
I'm done.
I was like,
let me out of here.
These people are crazy. I just can't do this, please. You know, so a real clear sense of where I came from.
Yeah.
And that has been a tremendous sustaining comfort and strong thread for me throughout my life, through all the challenging times. And I lost sight of that for a while as a young adult, but refound it, thank goodness, and have deepened it considerably. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know if I would be here anymore. So
probably not.
Yeah.
Me either. And so many of us that have moved into this place of wanting to be of service. Yeah. So, wow. I mean, to know so early something was amiss.
Yes.
And you and I are both living in a time, as I will probably say to every guest, of a major importance, where there's this huge shift between the old paradigm of organized religion and this new something that's going on. Some different people are defining it different ways, but you've been just in this perfect time. By no accident, I'm sure you have.
I was thinking about that the other day, actually. My son, my youngest son, Aiden, is 17. He's a senior in high school, and he's very, concerned with the race issues that are going on. And I'm just watching him and the depth of fire that he has about it. And I don't know why it occurred to me in that moment, but I was born in 1965, so 50 years ago.
Wow.
And 65 is when I was emerged in the midst of incredible unrest racially.
Right.
And huge upheaval, huge change, huge waves of belief systems falling and new awareness emerging. And I'm looking at my son and going, do we move in 50-year cycles? Because this feels different. This feels like this, and the next crest of a wave. You know, it feels like it's another big kick in the pants, of the old structures, and another crumbling and another unfolding,
Yes, crumbling first, then unfolding.
Right. I think you kind of have to get the crusty stuff off the top to get, the fresh, new blossoms underneath, I guess, kind of trimming the dead wood, if you will.
It's essential, isn't it? I mean, I look at my own path and I know that I'm just a microcosm of what has to occur in the macrocosm. I have to, the stuff that is in the way of that flow of love energy has got to be removed. And both individually and then, of course, culturally.
I agree with that. And in the past, in my early stages of healing, I felt that those obstacles were a lot bigger than they actually are.
Yes.
And what I've since learned as a matured healer, an elder, which I'm claiming now that I will be 50 in April, I'm like, that makes me an elder, guys, that the truth of things, that the greater flow of the big intelligence and the big love and the big rightness, of things is so much larger than these little tiny obstacles that we put so much belief into and so much faith in. And like, I love my issues. I love my issues so much. I'm going to cling to them. And, right. It makes me special and important because I have issues, and it's like, well, I've learned over a lot of training and time and experience that our belief in those things makes them more solid in our mind, and it's not necessarily true.
Yeah, it's not helping us.
In the end, I don't think so. I think it's kind of painful, actually.
Yeah.
A
People are
lot of
saying,
suffering,
Yes, it's like we're.
Is your suffering making you happy?
Is it working for you?
Yeah.
This that idea is dying, and I love to hear you say that. I'd love to hear you say that. It just resonates with me, and I know the truth of that. I do.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get there.
Well,
it's just how much pain are we going to go?
We will or we won't,
Right.
But
how much pain are we going to go through?
Right. Right.
So in the work that you're doing now, what is it that you do? What are you offering Tallahassee these days?
Well,
in the world.
It's
some
much bigger. Yeah, I
on.
do. I have. I've actually been doing international work for 10 years.
Wonderful.
And I seem to have been in a still raising my family, and yet bringing big information through. To answer your question, I write. I have a couple of published books, another one coming out this year.
Wow.
And I teach. I'm an artist. I'm a translator, really, messenger. And I did some research. I fought myself, like a lot of people, who are able to kind of connect into bigger picture kind of stuff. A lot of self-conflict around, I don't want to be that. I don't want to step out this way. I don't want to be this visible, being interviewed and talking about myself. But
here you are.
But here I am, because courage is one of the things that I can draw upon. And after putting the fight down, realize that I bring a piece of the puzzle that can help people reclaim their joy.
We
and
need you.
I know you don't like the word purpose, so I'll think of another word. But something like, here's my philosophy. Coming from a Native perspective, that everything has a role to play.
Yes.
In the great macro,
cosm.
Yes. And that there's absolute uniqueness in each of us, and so the piece of the puzzle we play is uniquely suited to us, and you try to fit that uniqueness into someone else's puzzle space, and it's not going to work, and you'll be miserable anyway trying to be somebody you're not.
Yes.
And then no one else can fit that one that's really meant for us.
Right.
And so why not just put down the fight and just own it, just be it. And there will be people who don't like it and people who, criticize, and oh well, their loss. It's okay. It's okay.
It's right. And most people were like, wow, I see her light. And one of the most beautiful things in the New Testament that I love, do not put your light under a bushel.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. I was in the process of fighting. I was looking for some confirmation because I didn't want to fall into the trap of, well, this is just an ego, self-aggrandizing, kind of thing. Was asked, for a lot of guidance from my helpers, and was taken directly to the Bible and taken directly to Corinthians and taken directly to the passage about spiritual gifts, and was told, you have two. Would you please claim these? And I'm like, well, which ones? Thinking I'm so smart about the Bible.
Wow.
And so they take me down the list and they say, faith? I'm like, well, that's true. I'm still here. And that took a lot of faith.
Indeed.
And then translator of tongues.
Wow.
And I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
And I was guided to understand that it means that I can translate abstract concepts in a way that helps people understand them. And so, in essence, what I've been doing since I was a kid, some people call that channeling. I get a little heebie-jeebies around the word channeling, because I don't go anywhere and my head doesn't turn around and I talk in a funny voice or, anything like that. It's like, I feel, and I bring it through, and I'm able to translate the energy into words and coherent and apparently fairly profound words. And so over the years, I've brought through a lot of curriculum and teach it.
Yes.
And I get pink when I start feeling when it starts, things are flowing right now, actually. So, but I finally was like, okay, yeah, that's what I am. I'll just own it. Just own it.
Beautiful.
Oh, well.
That's surrender.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It is.
That's surrender.
That takes courage and faith, I'll tell you. So faith and translation, good thing for me. They went together.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And that it took you back to the Bible. I mean, I remember being amazed. I mean, I was taken back to Jesus. And I'm like,
yep, me too.
I had thrown Jesus out with bathwater, man.
Me too.
But that's okay.
Yep.
Jesus knows when to come back and how to
patient,
come back.
Patient and kind.
You're ready for me.
Patient, yes.
Well, you're ready for me in a new paradigm, a new interpretation. I'm like, oh, I get to have Jesus back.
Yeah. Right here. I call him Yeshua because that's a little easier for my mouth to get around than Jesus. But,
what an amazing journey this spiritual journey is.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. And when, the interpretation of gifts, I have no gifts solely for my own self.
Right. Actually, that's what it says in Corinthians, that this is about being of service. I'm paraphrasing because I'm not going to be able to quote it, and that goes into the native belief as well.
Isn't that interesting?
You're here to be of service, and here's your role. Here's your specific, unique patterning or blueprint or design. And, will you please show up?
Yeah.
Because life is way big and smart.
Yes.
And, you don't want to fight that tide, Go ahead and let it be smarter than you and put you where you need to be, It's like, I surrender.
On a daily basis.
Yes.
Because it's
moment
just...
to moment. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes moment. It's just too hard to fight anymore. It's just too hard.
I think especially
so
now.
Painful. Right.
I think it's the evidence of the fight is rampant in the world. And, on one hand, I'm told, and according to statistics, as I like evidence for everything I'm told, I check the accuracy of everything I'm told. I'm a kind of a scientist, I guess. The stats say that the world's a safer place than it's ever been. Better place than it's ever been.
I have read that.
And that evolvement or enlightenment or awareness is growing, and we see evidence of it everywhere. And yet, we see these very painful confluences of factors. And I know from my own life that my pain has been my great teacher, and that, contrast is a great teacher, and that the depth of joy that I can go to is directly, absolutely proportionally related to my pain that I've gone through. And so I look at the pain in the world and I'm like, oof, ouch, okay, deal with it, but don't wallow.
Right.
Keep the focus on let's heal this and move it.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing to be able to give to people.
Well,
how to live in this world as Syria and America is happening, and yet pay attention to what's really happening, and that is that we are evolving.
Yeah.
This is actually an expansion.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I understand.
That's a beautiful gift. I mean, that is, if I could say anything that I would need from a teacher, it would be that. Help me live in this world knowing all of the horrible things that are happening, and yet maintain my connection to the thing that is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only way I could be here.
Me too.
Most of us to really believe that.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not going to drink or drug, if I'm not, I was like, okay, if I'm not going to drink or drug, TV, which I do a little bit of, but less and less, thank goodness, If I'm not going to do that, I've got to have something. And if I get there that way, I'm okay with that. However I get there. In other words, I'm not going to demean how I got there. The there being, I surrendered to the thing that's given me breath.
Bless the bridge that brought you over.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel like it's important to, in my study of the brain, which I've had extensive experience with, and creativity and whole brain work all together, wrapped into spirituality. Go
I
figure.
I know.
So there's something about a whole brain being
is.
totally, that helps us be able to be that, to have that direct connection and the seeing.
Yes.
But there's something about the way, I just thought of this today, the way we think is, it impacts our brain. It impacts the actual physical structure.
Yes.
And
that's proven.
Yeah,
that's not
science.
pseudoscience.
This is not, no. This is actual neuroscience. Yes. That the more stressful and segmented our thinking is, the more disintegrating it is to our physical brain. Like literally, the brain tissue pulls apart, rather than remaining cohesive and coherent and connected. And so, focusing on that feminine, I'm going to get in trouble for that.
No, you're not.
Connected. Not with you.
We got a new world.
That's right. And I don't mean female. I mean feminine. The yin, the energy of connection, inclusion.
Yes.
The more we bring that into our thinking, the more that is the truth of the physical brain.
Yes.
Much less the way we walk in the world.
Right.
Like seeing things through the lens of, oh, I see meaning in this.
Yes.
I see there's a connection.
Yes.
It's rather than I'm defending myself against that, or that's too scary, or putting a boundary down and making someone an other.
Right.
It's a different approach, and that's actually the work I'm doing in the world. Is I'm working for that whole brain approach.
And I'm so glad you are.
Thank you.
I want to have you back.
Oh, are we done?
We are.
Oh my gosh.
It's only 15 minutes. It was fun. We will do more. Yes, 15 minutes goes by pretty quickly when we're talking about this. But I don't know what EvolveTalk's going to do. It's going to do something. And
it will for sure.
And it's already doing something. So and you're a part of it already. So we'll see what the guides have to say about all of it. And we'll just okay, we'll go this way.
Surrender.
Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, EvolveTalk audience, for coming and watching this video today. Spread the word. Tell your folks that there's something going on in Tallahassee and they need to know about it. Come back and see us. Thanks again.